Okay, we are live, and I hope the connection is pretty good. Hey, everyone. I'm Allegra, the marketing medulla. I am back with Miss TeeCee Okore. We are here in this wonderful conversation about big brands, small business. And we talk about this because one of the biggest parts of being a small business owner is making sure that you are not just working towards something, but also growing, scaling, adding measures like having people to on your team to support you in your business growth. So we've been identifying big brands that started just like you and I, one person with an idea. We went over, Dunkin Donuts, and we went over Chipotle, and we went over Grubhub, and we've covered a lot. But today we're going to talk about Starbucks. And I want TeeCee to introduce herself before we start the conversation. But listen, I want you all to tune in, share this with your friends. We're going to talk about the Brewing Society, this global coffee culture that they created from three men that had a great idea and a wonderful heart. And sometimes we take for granted the fact that if we are really intentional about our business, we can grow that thing with support measures, but we have to be focused on what it is that we need to do. And this is what these live streams have been helping us do, understand individually what we need to do in our businesses to mimic the success of what these large companies have seen over years' time. I am the marketing medulla, Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist. I've been in the game for a really long time. I love what I do. I'm mostly supportive for women entrepreneurs who are, literally looking for legacy, looking to create sustainability in their business. So you not only want to have the business, but you want to learn how to make the business work. You want to know the ins and outs of your business, and you also want to work in your business. Okay, there's a difference between having a business and running it. Okay, so I work with individuals who want to run their business and work with successful team members like TeeCee. TeeCee, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Let's get into it.
Yes, absolutely. So, first things first, the trend of these conversations we've been having about these big brands, has not only helped us to understand better our brands, it has also helped so many of our clients, so many business owners, entrepreneurs that jump into these lives to also get better clarity as to where they're headed to when it comes down to their business. I mean, myself and Allegra are talking about branding in regards to, our identity, the name and all before we jumped into this life. Now, this is trying to let us understand that, these big brands, there are so many things that we can leverage on from these big brands without necessarily, right, copying them. So we're not copying them, we are leveraging on their framework, and that's where we come in, right? We're trying to open up these big brands for you so you're able to see what to take, refine your framework, and think about yourself. Okay, structure your business as a big brand, because that's the only way you're able to get to that next level of success that you desire. Now, that being said, my name is TeeCee. I'm a systems implementation strategist, and I'm sure you already understand that when it comes down to structure, it comes down to getting the work done, ensuring that your business is not only sustainable, right? It is bringing in substantial income every single month for you. Like literally, it's bankable. But most importantly, you're building that legacy. Your business should live after you. Now, that's basically what we're talking about. And that's what I stand for as well, and my business. Now, if you have questions about all of those areas, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or just email me, right? I will drop my email in the chat. But one thing, most importantly, it's important that you pay close attention to all of the tips, the strategies, and how we're able to dissect the framework. Allegra actually takes her time, right, to research on all of these brands. So you want as much as possible, take as much as you can, because this is one opportunity that you don't want to miss. Over to you, Allegra.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, TeeCee. I think that this is just such a wonderful conversation because I did have that listen, TeeCee knows I had a conversation with her before this live and said to her, I've been doing it wrong. I said, I think I've been doing it wrong. I think I need to rebrand and change the name, right? Rebrand and change the concept of the idea of what people are seeing when they see the brand. And we described this in one of the lives that we talked about. And this is the journey that we're on, right? When we talked about Grubhub, that first live series, it really did, it was intriguing to see how they quickly got investors and they quickly grew their business, but they started with well, there's two college kids, but they started with their concept of just restaurant menus and changing them into digital menus. That's just, it's so simple, right? But over time, there was an aha moment. And it wasn't even the name that they started with. Every single brand that we talked about, TeeCee, every single brand started out with a different name. So there's no shame. And this is the thing. A lot of us feel very uncomfortable with change. But in business, what we're learning through this series is that is the only consistent thing. Things will always change. They just will. The market's going to change. People change their minds, right? We're going to change as business owners. We're going to change the business. And so we have to know what needs to change and when. And so this TeeCee, I mean, it got me going because I said, whoa, I'm getting the answers, right? I'm getting the information. If y'all don't get it, I at least am getting it. So this is benefiting someone. And when we get to the point of understanding, and I mean, y'all need to get it. And that's why we keep having the conversation. So please ask your questions, because what I discovered was that a lot of people are building businesses, and because they like what it sounds like, because they like what it looks like, they want to put it in the market. But the truth is, no one else likes it. And so when I think about the big brand, small business conversation, and we're going to get into Starbucks right now, is that check your process in business. If you like your business so much that you're just like, I love it so much and it makes me so happy, right? I want you to do this. I want you to do this equation for me. How much money is it bringing you? Okay. Because here's the thing, the money that comes into your business is attributed by how you are helping people. When people know that you have the answers to their problem, which is what a business does, it solves a problem, they have no problem throwing money at your face. Shout out to Charlene for always saying that, right? So people want what you have. They want everything, but they need to know that it's going to benefit them. And so that's one thing that I was coming across, TeeCee. I said, how many of us are really looking at our business as far as how other people are looking at it? Not the branding elements, not the logo, not the colors of the pictures, not the way the font looks, right? Because there's psychology behind all that. Those are your branding elements, but your brand itself, that's what we're talking about. How people see you. And how people see you is going to depend on everything you do in the business. Okay, so I'm going to start with just the history of Starbucks, and I want y'all to chime in. Okay, I want you to ask questions and let me know what you think. I'm over here in the hospital too, y'all. So excuse the background and any noise you hear. Not me. But I'm taking care of Nana. Y'all know Nana, and I just want to make sure that we have this real conversation about your business and you being that big brand. Even though you're a small business, you are a big brand, but you have to identify where you need to put those components to make sure that other people can see that too. Okay. Starbucks, okay, had some really humble beginnings. They started in 1971. Okay. So from 1971 to 1987, Starbucks was founded in Seattle, Washington, and by three friends, Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegl, and Gordon Bowker. Bowker, Bowker. Okay, so we didn't look up these individual people because remember, there are people behind the brand, right? So these people behind the brand have their own stories, their own lives. We're not even digging that deep yet. We're just going to stay right here. And they were passionate. All three of them were passionate about high quality coffee. They weren't just like, I like coffee. They were like, I want high quality coffee. Okay. And we'll get into that later because that's going to tell you how, who's going to buy your coffee. Because everybody doesn't care about high quality coffee. But the actual business was inspired by Alfred Peet. So even though there were three friends that built the business, it wasn't even their original idea, right? It was inspired by Alfred Peet, a Dutch immigrant who had introduced them to the art of roasting coffee beans. And they set out to create a company that would create fresh, high quality coffee beans and equipment to Seattle coffee aficionados, right? And they named the coffee Starbucks after the first mate in Herman Melville's classic novel, Moby Dick. Did y'all know that? Like, did you know that they literally just picked a very catchy, flirty name, Starbucks? I don't even know what Starbucks means, but when you see Starbucks and when you hear the name, it's catchy. It feels good. It gives you energy, right? So they took that from the first mate. So that was his name in the Herman Melville's classic novel, Moby Dick. We all know that. And, it really evoked a seafaring tradition of early coffee traders. So this is not an audience of just people that wake up in the morning and they're like, I just want some coffee. No, they're like, these are people that's like, no, I have a certain quality of coffee because this is my feel. I enjoy this energy, this atmosphere of what coffee represents. And they didn't just do coffee itself, right? Like they're roasting coffee beans, but they also sold equipment. What? Come on now. I didn't even look into these guys yet, but what in the heck were they thinking? To be that bold to say, I'm not just going to sell coffee, I'm going to sell the entire machine. So when we look at our businesses, and I'm going to stop here because I want to hear from TeeCee, I want to hear from y'all. But listen, when we look at our businesses and we start thinking about product lines, we start thinking about opportunities, right? If you're selling something to a customer, right? And we talked about sales funnels in that room, but when you're selling something to a customer, and the actual and the customer is buying from you, you can offer complementary products to what you've already sold them, as long as you understand your customer and what they need. TeeCee's gonna come back in a second, y'all. And so I really want to emphasize this because listen, y'all, we really got to look at our businesses. We really have to identify what it is that we are actually doing with our product lines, with our business services. Are we maximizing, right? Are we maximizing? Are you maximizing every avenue where you sell the product as far as what they're drinking, what they're eating, but do you sell the utensils that go with it? So do you sell the resources that go with it, right? So that's something to think about. All right. So I'm gonna stop there for a moment, but I want to hear from TeeCee. I also want to hear from y'all. Hey, Karan. Only constant, yes, baby, say it. The only constant in life is change. Like right now, everything's changing, right? Like I'm changing. Nana's here. Nana eating her food. She changing. Nana, you okay? Okay. So everything has, everything changes in life. But the point that we're making is, are you changing with it? And so TeeCee's trying her best to get back in here, y'all. So we're gonna give her some time. She said, "Hey, Nana." Right. So some of my biggest biggest understandings about big brands, small business, is that they were willing to always change from the beginning. From the beginning, they were willing to change. And just like we saw in the past lives, if you watched our last live streams and you heard the stories of what was it, Panera Bread we did, and I think what was her name, Lois Kane or something like that, something Kane. So basically, we discovered the people that own these companies, the people that were building these brands. Like I never even heard them before. I've never even heard their names. Like I don't even know them, right? So this whole thing about like, oh well, you have to, like do this and do that. Like, listen, these people were passionate. They built their brands. They talked to the people that wanted what they had, and they built it. And when I say that Starbucks used to be called the cookie jar, Starbucks used to be called the cookie jar. Now we have to be very careful, right? Because as we're looking at our businesses and we're learning, do people actually resonate with your brand? Are people actually looking at your business and saying, I understand what that is? I'm intrigued by going there. And the reason why she changed it was because she had investors. That's the only reason. So someone else had to come and say, you know what? This might need to look differently. So she changed it to Au Bon Pawn and she changed it to Panera Bread. Same thing happened when it came down to Grubhub, right? Same thing happened when it came down to the next company. This is the first one, TeeCee, that these guys took someone's great idea and maximized on it and created a business and immediately said, I'm going to use something that people can be familiar with because it represents coffee culture. And that's why they named it Starbucks. But I'm going to go ahead and let you chime in.
While you were speaking, something caught my attention. I didn't know, obviously, I didn't know up until, this whole researching on, these brands we want to talk about. Who would have thought that? Personally, I always had this notion that the founder or maybe the idea owner of Starbucks would have maybe been a farmer or maybe a coffee brewer or maybe a coffee bean planter or somebody in the whole urban no rural space, right? In that farming industry. Now, that would have been like my first thought. But understanding that Howard, for example, is from the whole sales and marketing space is huge. Now, that is not actually the reason why they were able to key on this particular idea and work with it. Now, my point is you do not need to be a sales expert or a marketing expert for you to see a good idea, for you to see a profitable idea and work with it. Now, here's my point. So many of us as small business, we think that for us to be the vision carrier, we need to be, in quotes, the vision creator. That's not it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Now, what makes you the vision carrier is the fact that you're able to nurture the idea, okay? You're able to get the best out of the idea. You're able to drill into the idea. You're able to explore the idea. You're able to create a structure around that idea. Now, that is huge, okay? And that's basically what sets you aside. That makes you the vision carrier. Now, I've been talking about branding. I have been, thinking about what makes Starbucks what it is. Personally, I wouldn't say it is the fact that Howard has a level of experience or expertise in marketing. No. I would say it's the fact that they're able to see a profitable idea and work with it. Now, hear me out. If you're willing to, okay, now hear me out, right? This is my point of conversation. As a small business owner, sometimes I see so many people get stuck up on their ideas, which were basically just passions and maybe a level of hobby for them. Now, just because, hey, Nadia, not just because your passion or your hobby is something that excites you, doesn't necessarily mean that it is profitable and is sellable. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's sellable. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is profitable. Okay? So now that doesn't stop you from using an idea and making it your own. I'm still going to repeat this. Just because you're not the creator of an idea doesn't necessarily mean you cannot be the carrier of the vision of the idea. Okay? You can literally re-strategize. You can build a structure around it. You can build it. It is the person just
Okay, I think we have a little bit of technical issue. Hold on, y'all.
okay. So I was saying, right, just because we maybe as women, okay, we bettered a certain child, it doesn't necessarily make us in quotes a mother. Listen, now hear me out. Now that's because motherhood has to do with nurturing, imbibing good values, all of those great stuff. You can be a mother without even betting like from your womb a child of your own. Okay, you can have a child of your own without necessarily going through the whole 9 months. That doesn't make you, I mean, that is what categorizes you as a mother. When you're able to nurture this child, you're able to raise this child, you're able to imbibe that discipline, that amazingness in that child. Now put that into the same concept with running a business. Remember, like Allegra said, the idea were not theirs, but they were the carrier of the ideas. They nurtured the idea. They raised the idea. They grew the idea. They expanded on the idea. Now you can do the same. To my point, just because you want to seem as the, who even cares? If not, if like who cares to a large extent, right? All we care about is a solution as a customer. That's all we care about. What's the solution? Who is able to provide us with that solution? Right now, as long as you are able to provide us with a solution, it is you we know. And that's the powerful thing about branding, right? Who we know that has the face of whatever we are selling is literally who we know, right? Now, my point is, look at your offer, look at your idea. Is it the passion that you have, or is it just a hobby that you're still carrying from, time, how many years now? Is it sellable? Be sure that your hobby, which you're trying to turn into a business, is sellable, is profitable, because not all hobbies, not all passions, not all skills, not every knowledge you have is marketable, is sellable. So we want to be able to look into it. Now, if it means you, okay, leveraging a certain idea, remember it's value we are looking at. Now, these amazing men, obviously they're men, now, these amazing men saw that value. They keyed into that value and they owned the value, which was supposedly an idea of a friend of theirs, obviously, right? So let's think beyond the box. Let's think outside the box, especially as business owners. As business owners, as entrepreneurs, we're more thinkers, right? We are more creatives. We are thinking outside the box. And I feel like that is one amazingness, when it comes down to Starbucks. Think about their name. Who would have thought? I mean, going through all of these brands, it has made me want to think twice and be like, okay, all right, let's start to talk about rebranding. Okay, let's start to look at that. Because when we talk about branding, it's far more, it's so far away from what you like and what you don't like. It's what the people resonate with, is what they perceive. Okay, so I'm going to pause on that because I want us to talk about, the fact that they were able to simplify like their logo to ensure that their logo is more or less speaking to their audience. And this is very important, right? So simplifying your branding is important because if people cannot remember you, I mean, somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn and be like, um, yeah, TeeCee, yeah, TeeCee Solutions. And I'm like, well, that's not the name of my business. But yeah, TeeCee, that's it. So it's the TeeCee that they remember. And, that's telling me something. Okay, that is telling me something. Now, the point is, what is that one thing people remember you? When they think about you, how do they feel? What do they perceive? What's that first thing? That is very important. So you think about it. Go on, Allegra.
That's important because there are brands for people and there are brands for businesses. Just because you have a business and you run the business and you're the only person in the business doesn't mean you and the business are the same brand, right? Like your brand and your business is a brand. So this is important because TeeCee, what you were saying, it brought that up for me. Like sometimes we are saying our brand, but not the brand of the business, right? Because I will talk to y'all all day about Allegra the Marketing Medulla, but how many times do y'all hear AJ CEO Business Coaching Group? How many times does that come out of my mouth, right? So also we have to realize that some of that stuff, because when I say the name, I'll be tired. I'll be like, AJ CEO Business, So maybe that name needs to change. So that's why I was saying TeeCee earlier. I said, TeeCee, sometimes it's really about that, familiarity of how we are presenting the message to people. Okay. Nana, you good? Okay. So when we have, and I want to get this question answered, because I'm not sure if Karan was actively listening at the time, because I know we kind of went through real quickly like the history. But Starbucks, I'm not sure about this transition, but Starbucks never transitioned a name. They picked the name, and it was the name. Okay. And it was the first company that we've come across in this series that started with the name and stayed with it. Okay. Now we're going to read more about what this company did and where they started, but it seems like these three friends were very, very convinced about what they wanted to do. And what I've noticed is that they started out with three strong people that were collaborating on something that they all appreciated, understood, and agreed on. The other businesses that we talked about started with either one person or two people, which was Grubhub. But guess what? Remember, after 1 year partnership, that other guy ended up leaving, or 2 years, I think, right? Because he didn't see the value anymore. So every one of these businesses that had to change their name over time, that had to change their name when they got an investment, guess what? They were by themselves, one person. But this is different because these are three guys coming together with a unified idea, and they all believe in it. And I think that makes a huge difference in your structure, in your growth, and how you make decisions in your business. Okay, I want to elaborate more on that, y'all. But we'll have to deep dive in another conversation. And it said they did have a sign announcing a change is coming or something like that. Walking down the street to my favorite coffee spot and not seeing the whole name might be a bit confusing. Just wondering. Okay, so they may be changing the name now. That's interesting. I haven't seen that yet. So we'll see, because that's a whole nother conversation.
No, Allegra, she
TeeCee,
wasn't
elaborate.
saying that they would change the name. She was saying, no, she wasn't saying that they would change the name. She's saying that did they have a sign up announcing? So she's more or less asking, because she didn't come in like when we
No,
started.
They didn't have anything. They were three brothers that started out, and they named this business off of the character, which was the mate in that Moby Dick book. Back in the day, we used to read Moby Dick and all those little novels, right? Well, one of the mates, his name was Starbucks, and that's what they chose. And because it has this centered focus around the coffee roasters concept, right? Because we don't know what that environment was like. We don't know what that was like for coffee roasters, but because they learned from this guy, we just read it. He was a Dutch immigrant, and he was teaching them how he roasted fresh coffee beans. They never saw anything like that before. They're like, this is high quality. And so they took it and they ran with it. Why? Because they understood the value, right? They believed in it, and they had each other. So there wasn't anything in one person's mind to say, well, are you sure? Right? Because if one person said, are you sure? The other person said, absolutely. So I really want to stop for a second, TeeCee, and I want to go further into the history of it, because we're learning, right? And Karan said, oh, okay, yeah, we're learning because they were the only company that did not have so much going on in the beginning with just one owner. So I believe, and TeeCee, tell me if you believe this too, but I believe that allowed them to be more successful quicker.
I agree, and I wanted to say that can you see that trend? So down the line, we've been talking about brands, right? And with this brand, we've noticed that they start off obviously as a one-man person. Okay, now that's different, which is fine. Even as a one-man business, it's okay if you start. But you see, one thing I've also noticed is that when you're ready to scale, when you're ready to think longevity, you're ready to think sustainability, you can't do it on your own. I mean, you shouldn't do it on your own. These brands have made me understand that entrepreneurship can never be done in isolation. Never. Especially when you're thinking sustainability and growth. When you're thinking legacy, okay, you need a team. Now, I'm not talking about you saying a VA, a this, a that. Well, that's a part of it, but that's not what I'm talking about. You need like minded individuals who are thinking in the same light, right? Whose vision is your vision? Like literally, they share the same interest, they share the same vision as yourself, because that would get you faster to your goal. I mean, that basically was what made Starbucks to kickstart and just on it. Now, sometimes this might not come really easy, because not everybody is going to understand your vision. Not everybody is going to, you know, yeah, not everybody is able to understand your vision at the get go. But while you go on your journey, if you're starting off as a one-man business, be on a lookout for people who you're able to collaborate with, partner with, people who have the same mindset, the same vision. It's not about you anymore. You see, your gifts, the value you're about to bring to this world is no longer about you. Now, when you think about doing it on your own, what you're saying is that my vision, the path I'm supposed to take, you're cutting it by 10, right? Now, see how Starbucks is able to like move really fast. No, Allegra literally see, okay, maybe it's just an exaggeration, but the truth is, imagine how fast you can grow when you have the right partnership, when you have the right collaborations, okay, when you have mentally, emotionally, you're able to grow at a fast pace. See the difference between Starbucks, okay, and Panera Bread, for example, or the other brand that we talked about. See the difference. They started off from the get-go. Now, Starbucks might not be in all of the countries in the entire continent that we have in this entire world, but everybody knows that brand name, Starbucks. Everybody, whether it's in the country, whether it's not, everybody knows that brand name. So what are you talking about? Okay, Allegra, just fill us in with the rest of the history with Starbucks.
Okay, I hope I'm back. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, TC. And I was just this is so interesting, y'all. It's so intriguing. Like, I don't know if y'all are really like hearing what is being said. TC kind of laid out how, we're seeing that there are some real trends in these businesses that we're studying that did a very good job of doing it the right way. And one thing that came up for me, TC, is like, because TC, myself, TC, and Sarah, which we, do a lot of, transferring of businesses over, right? Because if you can't get coached by me, baby, I'm gonna send you over to somebody who can. And most usually, Sarah will work on your organic marketing, and TC will work on your implementing your strategies and putting your sales funnels together. A lot more stuff than that, but this is mainly what I look at. And we just had a meeting on Monday, right? We were like, this is dumb. Like, we literally just, it's like a mastermind meeting. We were like, this is dumb. We're all three sitting here, trying to get clients and, working in these marketing avenues and running our own sales funnels. And I'm like, if we do it together, it will maximize so much so, because, and this is the thing, we're talking about having separate businesses, but TC, what came to me is, like I said, what if initially we all met each other and we did not have our businesses yet and we decided to make one together, right? What a powerful notion that would have been, because of the simple fact that our expertise would have came into a pot, and we would have been able to literally give people this all in one, instead of saying, oh, I don't do that, I'm sorry, let me say you here. Oh, we don't have that service, let me give you Sarah's number, right? when you start off with people that understand your vision, that can partner with you in it, like TeeCee is saying, I promise you, like, this is the craziest part for me, is that we don't invest enough time in actually finding alignment with people who are going to help move our vision. We just don't. And so because we don't do that, because we're coming from an employee to a CEO mentality, right? Because we're like, well, I'll just do the work myself. Who says? First of all, if we want to get very spiritual here and with this part, we like to talk about God, right? And how he brought his son Jesus on earth to show us the way. Well, guess what? Jesus ain't do it alone either. So when we are doing these things and expecting to just be a one-man show, this is what comes up for me. So this is what I'm really, really tuning into. And also, not only with the quick growth, that they had, but also the fact that this name thing is really getting me, because I'm also looking at other businesses and saying, you know what? The only reason why I bought that thing is because I like the name. Like, really? Like I'll give you one example and then I'll move on. There was this cleaning bottle, and it was it was sitting in the Walmart section of the cleaning products, but it was safe. It said safely. That was it. It had safely on it, and I looked at that thing and it said safely at the top and it said calm in the middle. Now listen, that just speaks an emotion. It's not, that doesn't say cleaning product. It doesn't say, chemical free. None of that. It just said calm and safely. Why? Because that is part of the energetics that I align with. So I didn't buy it necessarily because it was the premier cleaning product, right? What got me to buy it was the fact that it already aligned with what I wanted, right? I needed something to clean my house. It was safe. But it was what it was giving with the name once I approached it, before I looked at the ingredients in the bottom, right? And what we try to do is give everyone the ingredients. They're like, oh, look at all this stuff that we're doing. It's so cool. Oh, da, da, da. But your name sucks. Okay, I'll digress. So I want to go to I want to go to this part because it said the first Starbucks store located in Seattle's historic Pike Place Market. So they actually selected, I always tell people location, location, location. Some of my clients think that's funny, but I say it 3 times, and we always just say it 3 times because listen, if you have a great business and you are offering products that you can cure cancer. But if nobody knows where you're located, it don't matter. So your location has to be somewhere where people are fully accessible to you. And but listen, even though they were in the historic Pike Place Market, they sold only coffee beans and equipment for brewing coffee at home. Okay? At home. So even though they were a store selling coffee, they didn't necessarily have to sell to, other companies and things like that. They actually opened a store and started to sell to individuals to brew their own coffee at home. Now that speaks volumes. The store actually quickly became popular with local coffee enthusiasts, and founders begin to build a local customer base. So how, like, it was actually good, because I'm sure in this market where people would usually go to, their local store to get coffee, and maybe the coffee wasn't that great, now they're getting high quality coffee and now they can make it at home. That's big, because that's convenience, that's affordability, right? You're not spending money on coffee every day. You're just making it, right? And it also says that Howard Schultz, which I believe is one of the owners. Let me go back, because he was no. Howard Schultz is not one of the owners. So it says Howard Schultz joined the company in 1982, my birth year, y'all. So he joined the company in 1982 as director of retail operations and marketing, who took Starbucks to new heights. So here's the thing. They were operating in their passion and they were focused on their consumers, and they were making money and they were doing well, because they were able to, put a location, an actual Starbucks store inside of a marketplace. But here's what's crazy is that they had to actually hire someone in 1982 to be over retail operations and marketing, because they probably were doing so well that if they didn't hire someone to actually organize that process, get those marketing funnels together, get those sales funnels together, make sure that they were marketing messages all over the place. If they didn't do that, then we probably would not see the Starbucks we see today, right? Because eventually what happens is that a business will get so overwhelmed by the type of the amount of customers coming their way, the amount of money coming their way, that if you can't manage that with the team that you have and you don't hire someone that can, you will fall apart. Your business will fall apart. And we hear those stories a lot. So it's not necessarily always the lack of customers. Sometimes it's an influx that will
Mm-hmm.
make you over in your business. Go ahead, TeeCee.
Yeah, before you go on, I just remembered that I had a story of a brand that literally died off because of the overwhelm with managing their customer base. Like the brand literally just died off, like literally, right? Because they couldn't manage, how fast they were growing. And that is to say that, it might not be for you that you're listening. It might not be for you that are, right here. But one thing I would say is that whether you realize it early or you realize it late, as long as your business is growing, as long as you want your business to grow, okay, you need that structure that can manage the outcome, okay, of the growth that you envision. Don't wait till you start to grow before you put those structures, those systems, those funnels in place. Do not wait. Because you see, when you wait, experience have it that when you wait, you might not be able to manage it at that particular time. Because we're not God, so we don't know what is going to happen in the future. Now, if you wait till, oh, okay, you know what? I'm still a small business right now, and I don't think I need my funnels. I don't think I need my systems. Well, when that time comes and, I start to grow, you're even putting your growth on probability. It means that you do not even believe in what you have. And yeah, when you eventually grow and you're not ready for that growth, chances are is that you might not be able to pull through. You might not be able to pull through. You just might get to that point where somebody has to buy you off because you can't handle it. So why do you want to get yourself to that point where you can't take it anymore? And I promise you, there's so many of us that even before we start to get clients, we start to make clients and do all of those great stuff in our businesses, we're already overwhelmed by the idea itself. We're already overwhelmed by even the things that we need to do every single day for our businesses. And now you're already overwhelmed by that. Imagine when you start to grow. That's a problem. I have seen a situation where growth that everybody prays for is the problem.
Oh yeah, but this is why we have the conversation though. And TeeCee, when you're speaking, I always laugh, and TeeCee's like, Allegra's laughing, but I'm laughing because I know what it feels like to grow and to have to hire someone so your business doesn't fall apart, right? Now what TeeCee, I love what TeeCee is doing. She's trying to save y'all. Like she's trying to say, don't wait until the bottom drops out. Like don't wait until you get to a point where you're like, and sometimes we get very disciplined about people. Like I also told TeeCee, I've been through hiring stages and you get disappointed, so don't let that stop you from feeding the business what it needs. Like you need to have people in position. And when we talked about this guy Schultz, right, he had a whole era. He had an entire era with Starbucks for the simple fact that he came in and took that thing to another level. He wasn't just a team member, like, oh, I'm just going to work here as an employee. No, they didn't just hire someone as a team member. They clearly they were intentional, which we should all be intentional about who we bring on our team. Because these three guys, obviously, with this great idea and this wonderful concept, right? They were protecting it. And that's what we have to do for our businesses. They believed in it, they invested in it, and they protected it, right? So now that they are protecting it, they're getting the right people in place. And this guy, his name is Howard Schultz, and he had a whole era from 1987 to 2000 where he expanded Starbucks for them. He had a trip to Milan, Italy in 1983. Okay. This is a year after he became the director of retail and, of course, marketing. And he was struck by the vibrant coffee culture that he encountered in the city's espresso bars. He envisioned bringing a similar experience to the US, right? So he's in a whole other country looking at what they're doing over there. And he's like, this would be nice for the people in the US, right? A place where people could gather, enjoy a cup of coffee, connect with each other, right? But the original Starbucks owners, they did not even want to pursue the vision. These three brothers that were so gung-ho about like making sure that this man could bring this wonderful expansion to their forefront, right? They really probably just were thinking, well, we just need to hire someone to make sure that we consistently keep our market afloat. But this guy was ambitious. He's in Italy, like, I like this culture. We got to bring this to the market. Like, we got to have this. And they were hesitant, right? And they wanted to focus on just selling coffee beans rather than beverages, because right now we can go to Starbucks and you're going to get coffee, but you also have other beverages there now. But undeterred, Schultz left Starbucks in 1985 to start his own coffee house chain, and it's called Two Giornal, which quickly gained success. Okay, so this man tells the owners, "Hey guys, like, you got to do this," and they're like, "No, we're just going to stick to just coffee beans. We don't want to add anything else, right?" And so this guy leaves and then starts his own coffee house chain, and then it gained success quickly. So from 1983, a year after they hired him, I guess, he found success for them, but then they didn't want to go through it. So in 1985, 2 years after that, he's like, I'm out. Like, I'm going to, like, we probably left already, but he's like, I'm going to start my own. So 2 years later, he starts his own, right? And quickly gained success. So 2 years later, he purchased Starbucks with the help of local investors and merged it with Two Giornal and transformed Starbucks from a coffee bean retailer into a coffee house chain that would change the way Americans drink coffee. Okay, so listen, I know that this took a turn, but this is what I do want to emphasize. Okay, when you have a brand, a concept, an idea that the public needs and that the market needs, right? If you're not going to do it, someone else will. And the problem with a lot of us is that we don't value change. We don't value scalability. We don't value growth. And so we're just like, no, I'm not ready to do that yet. These three brothers who had this passion for what they did, working this business, they grew this business. They were doing an amazing job. And I'm sure people were like, oh man, this is wonderful. This guy comes in and sees a different vision and they don't want to go with it. Why? Because they're stuck in their business. This is what they want to do. And sometimes we get stuck like that too. We sit there and we go, but this is what I've been doing for the last 3 years. Why would I change that? Right? My customers like it. I like it. But what about the people that need more? What about the people out there that, that they don't like it, but they can like something else that you have if you just open up that product line? And when I look at how Howard Schultz saw the vision of the Starbucks, joined their team, and was like, y'all sleep. Like, you guys are sleeping on your brand, right? He came in and he's like, y'all sleeping on your brand. You're not doing nothing. What's going on? He went to Italy. He did this. He did that. And then he finally said, you know what? If y'all not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And he went and did it and then came back and bought them out. So I say this to say that sometimes we think our business is ours and it's not. If you don't put yourself out there to make sure that that entity is growing and is flourishing and is there for people, don't think just because you had the idea that it is yours. I had someone say something to me I thought was very weird. They said, I don't want nobody taking my idea. I said, what do you mean by that? Well, it's my idea. I don't want nobody making money off of it. So I don't want to tell nobody. I don't want to talk about it. And I said, well, who said it was yours? Whoever said that was your idea? So, we have to kind of look at the source. Like, God will give you the ideas. It is our objective and it's our opportunity to make that idea flourish into what he wants it to be, right? We have to be able to spread that into the world, regardless of if it sticks with us forever or not. I know businesses are out there that literally the goal is to sell the business. But if you're going to sell the business, it has to produce fruit. It has to produce money. It has to grow. And so the quicker we are in making sure that we make decisions to make sure that business is constantly growing, the better we are with making sure that we stay in the business. Because guess what? I guarantee you that these three brothers had no clue that this man was going to come back and buy them out. They had no clue that they were going to lose their opportunity to, and they probably were thankful anyway, for the simple fact that this man probably took a whole heap of a weight off their shoulders. Because sometimes we start businesses and what happens over time, you go, oh my God, this is more than I thought it would be. And I don't know if I'm passionate about it anymore. And I don't know if I want to do this anymore. So that hobby that you were doing and that you were calling a business ain't going to work. It's not going to work because you really have to work your business. And so we got to be very mindful about that, because I think that TeeCee, to this point, and I'll move on after this, but I think this is why a lot of times when I talk to some people that I don't ever work with, some of the questions that I ask are, well, why don't you have a team? Why aren't you hiring? Why haven't you made the decision? And usually it is based around trust issues. It is based around the fact that it's like, okay, well, that wasn't my vision. So, or that's not what I really was looking at. So I don't trust this person to come in because they don't have my same. But you got to be able to have people come into your business that have totally different ideas, totally different objectives when it comes down to your brand and your mission, so that you can have a conversation and they can give you a different perspective. Because if you only operate off of all your knowledge, your understanding, your perspective about your business, then it's not for anyone else. It's just for you. But I'm going to continue talking about this. TeeCee, I want you to chime in before I go into the meat of it, because clearly they lost their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And besides, that's no formula to growth. I'm just going to share an example, and then you can take over. To your point, that point where you said trust issues. I agree, it's trust issues. I mean, I have had to cancel my contract with a client. At first I didn't realize that was the problem, but then I realized that he had trust issues. Now this is not me to help you out of the trust issues. I'm no mindset coach, so sorry, I can't help you with your trust issues. You have to deal with it yourself or figure it out. Right now, if you bring me into your business, you're literally opening up your entire business for me to work with you. Right now, that's my role. That's what I do for businesses. Right now, if you don't open up what you currently have, your processes, your framework, you are hiding things from me, there's no way I'm able to help you. And that was basically the story. Like, I realized that there's so many things I didn't know about the business, so many wrong things I didn't even understand. I mean, I had to go into the business to understand that what I thought the business was what the business isn't. Okay. And at a stage, it was hard, but at a stage, I had to get on a call with him, and I said, this is not working. Now you need to trust me to help you. If you can't trust me, I mean, you're hiding so many things from me, and only for you to come around and say, oh, you know what, you want my kind of business. I mean, you want you want to have the kind of structure that I have, right? But that's not why I was hired. I was hired for something different. Okay, now going in, this is what I see. You want to be open. I don't have a problem if you want to do the same thing that I'm doing. I mean, there's this space is big enough. But you need me to help you. You want to trust me. You're hiding information, you're hiding details, you're hiding processes, you're hiding different things. You cannot grow. I cannot help you. Okay? Now, when we are ready to grow, we need to be transparent about our processes. Understand that once you understand that your idea, like Allegra said, is not yours for you to keep. Okay, it is meant for you to expand, explore. Okay, get it to the people that need what you have. It's the value that God has given to you for you to be able to spread. And that's what sometimes also I see It bothers me when I see people stalling on their potentials, and because this is not yours to keep. It's not meant for you. It is meant for the people who need you. Now you are just a vessel. You're just a carrier. Now what this means is that because you are a vessel and a carrier, it can be taken away from you, whether you like it or not. It can't be taken away from you if the vessel becomes weak, if the vessel is not able to withstand the heat, if the vessel is not able to carry it, if you that you're the carrier, you're not able to withstand it, I tell you, it would be taken away from you. Remember that verse, that passage in the Bible, right? You want to, as much as possible, understand that you are meant to expand this gift, you are meant to expand this value. Okay, and that also includes hiring. You need people that you are able to learn how to trust. I know that sometimes trust can be a very, maybe for some people trauma and all of that, but you need to, as an entrepreneur, you need to get over those feelings. Don't A friend of mine used to say this: don't come catching feelings as an entrepreneur. No, there's no room for feelings. There's no room for you to start acting all emotional. Okay, you're strategic, you're tactical, you're focus oriented, you're like up to the goal, up to the value. Okay, so you want to, as much as possible, be very intentional, with your gift, with your skills, with your knowledge. It is meant for a reason. And sadly, not because I want to say this, but that's just what it is the fact that if you're not able to carry it, a stage will come. It's either you voluntarily give it to somebody else to help you carry, okay, or okay, you eventually give it to somebody else, or it would be taken away from you. Okay, yes, go on, Allegra. It would be taken away from you. So you want to be very intentional, okay? Yes, go on, Allegra.
Okay, multitasking. Thank you for covering for me, TC. I had to talk to the doctor real quick, but you listen. Like, I hope y'all are listening, right? Everything that's being said here is so true to the value of what we see in our businesses, and also like we're learning through all these different situations. I really want us to take this seriously, and so if when you tune into these type of conversations that we have, identify where in your business that you can make these changes yourself. Like I said, I told TC earlier, I'm changing the name, baby. Like, we really are going to have to reevaluate, because the truth of the matter is that the name matters, the location matters, right? Your intentionality around how you do things matter. You can't just wing it. This is just not, it's just not like that. So a lot of times what we see in business, and I've been in business for a really long time, and what we see in business is people just mimicking and copying what they see. But how intentional are you about really learning and understanding? Because when I teach business, that's how I teach business. It's not about the trick or the gamble. It's about, did you read it? Did you write it down? Physically, did you do it? And a lot of times we are not. And so let's just kind of really be very realistic about this. Also, the thing that what took me over with this guy taking this company from these three men is that he had the future vision when they were still living in the past in their current situation. How can you where are you looking at the future of your business, or are you just stuck in your current situation? Because if you're not able to expand and grow based on the concept of your goals in the future, then your business is stuck too. So we're gonna see what happened after Howard took over Starbucks, and how he changed the concept around it. Because when he got these investors involved, and and he now owns Starbucks, right? What he did was, and let me go back to where I was, because um, this is actually in. Go back, because I kind of lost my place, y'all. I'm talking too much. So he went to Milan. Then he actually bought him up with the investors, and then he actually transformed Starbucks from a coffee bean retailer into a coffee house chain. So he actually started off practicing with his own coffee house chain, which was the 2G now. And then he said, you know what, I can actually do this. So he bought Starbucks, and he changed the entire game. So and it changed the way Americans drink coffee. Like, that is so true. Like, we don't even drink coffee the same as before with Starbucks. And it says under his leadership, right? Because now he's back in a position that he always wanted anyway. He began to aggressively expand with his strategy. He had a new strategy. He opened up stores across the United States and eventually internationally. So that was his strategy to really get stores in place in the right locations so that people that were in these places that had never had high quality coffee can now experience it. And he emphasized creating a quote unquote third place experience. He called it a unique third place experience, a welcoming space between home and work where customers could relax and enjoy premium coffee beverages. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I definitely have had lots of things, meetings at Starbucks, had resting phases at Starbucks. Like, I'm tired, I just need a coffee. Let me sit down, let me take a break, right? Also, they introduced their signature handcrafted espresso drinks, lattes, cappuccinos, frappuccinos, which became popular with the broad audience. So here's the thing. This is where the branding started to take off. Because how many times do you go to Dunkin' Donuts asking for a frappuccino and they look at you and they get pissed off, right? Because they know that you're talking about Starbucks. You have to be able to identify that your brand can also be just that unique, right? They knew where to position themselves. They knew that they were the third home to people, right? The place where if you didn't have anywhere to go to relax and chill, you're going to go to Starbucks and you're going to get a nice cup of coffee. And now they're saying you don't just have to drink hot coffee. Now you can come on a hot day and have a frappuccino. And frappuccinos are names that are very specific. So when you think about your business too, and this is something I also thought about, TeeCee, I'm looking at my packages. I'm like, well, what does this package sound like? And what does that package sound like? And what does that service sound? It's basic. Like some of the names of these packages and programs and services that I put out, they're basic, right? And you think like, okay, well, they just have to be simple enough for people to understand what it is. But sometimes you have to look at how intentional you are about the branding piece. Is this something that they can literally hear and know that that is you, no matter where they are? No matter where you are, when you hear a frappuccino, you know Starbucks. Now, we may get a little confused because we know that other people have their brand names as well, right? But frappuccino versus ice, they don't even make they don't even make it like that at Dunkin' Donuts. Like, they even make it differently. You go to Dunkin' Donuts, you're like, let me get an iced coffee. You know, you go to Starbucks, it's like iced coffee, no frappe, honey. I need it blended. So I think we have to understand that even in our own businesses, we can identify how our brand just exudes through the entire process. Our people, like, in one last example, I know we're not talking about this particular brand, but there's a clothing store. I can't remember the name, but when you go in there, there's a scent that they have, and it's their brand scent. Can't get anywhere else. They created it. They made it. They only use it for their store and their brand. So when you wear their clothes, you get the same scent. How amazing is that? That literally you can walk by somebody and smell the scent, and that now invigorates your senses to have an overall experience of the brand. And you see it, you smell it, you feel it, you hear it. What? So when you start to incorporate more senses for people to understand your brand better, right? That's what this is about. It's not really about like, oh, I got a pretty name. It's not about, oh, I changed this person's life today. You're going to change lives. But are you attractive enough, and are you memorable enough for people to understand that for themselves? And it blows me away, because as I'm reading and looking at these different stories, TeeCee, I'm like, I think we're retarded. Like, I think we really got some loose screws. Like, we really are out here thinking that we're just going to flow and it's just going to happen. I want to hear from you, TeeCee.
Personally, I totally agree, because after going through with all of these brands, I'm rethinking so many things. I'm rethinking the names of my program. I'm rethinking, even the name of my business. because we want these things scalable. We want these things to live beyond just us, right? And it's something for us to think about. It's something that we need to think about. We want to visualize um the impact our business would have without us. Like, if we are removed from the business, what happens to us? What happens to the business, right? So yeah, I think for me, why I love this series is the fact that it gets you thinking. Like, if you're very sincere about scaling your business, about growing your business, it literally gets you thinking, because here you'll be like, okay, you know what? Branding is
Okay, guys, Stacey's going to come back in a moment. She's just having some difficulty with the connection. Just bring her back up. Hold on. Come on up. Here she goes.
okay. So what you have with your brand is extremely different. Okay, so you want to start to think about your brand identity, and mind you, you don't have to be making 10,000, 5,000, 2,000, whatever thousand you're thinking about. Listen, yet before you start to figure out your brand identity, figure out your brand structure, figure out, because you see, if you are also thinking about making money, you want to think about how bankable your business can be. And you see, one thing I realized as well from all of this, this past series we've been doing and Starbucks right now, is the fact that your brand has so much to do with how much you attract to yourself every single month. How far you, like, it will get to a stage in your business that it goes way beyond just the money. It's now the impact. It's now how people feel. It just goes way beyond. Okay, and so that's basically what we should be thinking about. I mean, we have such amazing skills, we have such amazing gifts, such amazing, whatever you're doing is value. Okay, product, services, whatever you have right now is 100% amazing, but no one else understands how amazing it is aside from you. Now we need to change it, and that's what this space is about.
Jesus, somebody help. Because literally you said it. Preach, TeeCee. I mean, and honestly, this is just a real conversation, right? Because as you grow in anything, you learn and you develop, and there's no shame in it. And I think some of the conversations I had, TeeCee, was really about a lot of those self-sabotaging behaviors too. So we have to understand that building your business is also building you. I think Ariana says it a lot. And when we actually have this notion that we are in control, okay, we are in control of the things that we do. So, your intentionality around building the business, the way that you name your business, the way that you look at your programs, the way that you name it. Why did you do that? Why did you name your service the name that you named it? Why did you name your products the name that you named it? Why did you name your business? Right? Something as simple as that. What happens is a lot of times we overlook it because we're just like, well, it's just a name, right? But your name matters. Your name matters. My name matters. Every name matters. And it's an identity. And I heard you say that, TeeCee, identity. Like when people don't have identity, we're lost, right? If your business does not have identity, it's lost. And so people have to identify with that. Like, what does it mean? And so when you look at that, really, like, AJ CEO Business Coaching Group, y'all, it was just my name. This is my name, CEO behind it, right? It wasn't too much thought behind that. But here's the thing, like, if I want other people to see the vision behind my brand, then I might have to rethink that because I'm not the vision behind the brand, right? So I'll stop there because we got a lot of talking to do. We have a lot of things to do. But here's what I will tell you to do, because a lot of this conversation we are having in private spaces. We do one-on-ones. We have programs. We have available opportunities for you to get in our DMs and to ask us questions so we can guide you. I would just implore you to do that if you have questions at this point, because this is a lot of information, a lot to digest. And if you're wanting to be that big brand, just like we're talking about, right? I think everybody does, because we are not investing in our businesses just to be a hobby. Okay. Everybody really wants to be successful at this. In order for us to be successful, we have to be guided, and we have to have the resources, and we have to be connected. Okay. And so this is what this is teaching us. By the late 1990s, y'all, Starbucks became a household name. They became a household name. And they opened up stores in Canada, Japan, and the UK. TeeCee, now you got Starbucks too. Look at that. Right? Imagine if I'm over here talking about some Starbucks. I love me some Starbucks, y'all. And TeeCee don't know what the heck I'm talking about. She's like, what? Right? So they made it accessible. They made it available to people, so that not only they can experience the same energy and the same atmosphere that we have at the Starbucks here in the US, but now I can share it with my friends.
You know that Starbucks actually has gone way past all of these countries. The last time I was in
remember,
Dubai,
this is in this happened in the 1990s, TeeCee. This is late 1990s. They expanded in Canada, Japan, and UK.
Okay then. Okay, because I know it's expanded past all of these countries as well.
Right. So basically, and I'm going to be a little bit lower here because I'm in the hospital. I don't want to, because my nana's trying to sleep. So basically, y'all, okay, you got these new countries that Starbucks is in, and now they are diversifying their offerings. Now they have teas, now they have pastries, they got other food items, right? And they have ready to drink beverages that now they're putting in grocery stores. Oh my God! Like what? Like how is your vision? Do you see clearly? Because clearly you see how that Howard Schultz, now as the owner of Starbucks, already had the vision, but because those three guys were holding that vision back, right? Howard took it upon himself to say, I'm going to make sure that this vision happens, and I'm going to make sure it expands because I see differently. And that is also another hard part, because when we don't realize that our businesses are not just us, that our businesses are for other people, what happens is that we hold our business hostage. We start saying things like, this is what I want to do. This is how I see it. But the truth is that you are the problem. You are holding your business back because something in your vision is a little broken. And the vision, the overall vision of something that is put in your heart that you're going to invest in, it has to be bigger than just you. So to have these things now in grocery stores, game changer, right? In 2000, right? He stepped down. So he took time to go and make sure that this thing had a staple. Why? Because he believed. Why? Because he cared. Right? So you got to believe in what you do, and you have to care about it. You can't just say, oh, well, I just didn't do it today. I just didn't work on my business. I just didn't get up on time. I just can't get up that early, or, I just couldn't sleep last night. Y'all better stop.
Or you hear things like, oh, I was so tired. I didn't think it was necessary I work on my business today.
Right. I'm so tired. Well, we're always tired, but when we want something, we get it done. And so this is what we're finding, is that, like, listen, this man saw that these brothers were just stagnant. Like, no. So he took it to a new level. And then after years of doing that, he stepped down. So you got almost like 20 years of this. And now he's like, did what I came to do. Right? So I'm sure that with all of this, he had vision, but I know that at the end of that vision, he had to have an ending point. And some of us don't even know what that looks like. Like, some of us don't even have a vision of what the end of that looks like. It's like, do you want to run your business forever? Okay, no? Okay, maybe you want to just run it for 10 years and then sell it. But how are you going to do that if every time you work on your business, you're just guessing that you're doing it your way? You have to have a goal, you have to have a team, and you have to have resources, and you have to invest, This is outside of the basic things like believe in yourself. You have to be so intentional about the way that you do business that you have to always be studying and learning about it too. And this is why we do what we do. So now he stepped down as CEO and he's in the role of a chairman, and Orrin Smith took over as CEO. So now he's like, did what I came to do. Now I can replace myself. That's what we call that. I'm going to train someone else to do what I do that has the same passion I have. I'm going to train them to do it. And then I'm going to step out of this position and I'm going to let them do the work so I can sit back and watch, so I can oversee. And the company continued to expand and their rapid growth, y'all. They had rapid growth. It actually took them to a lot of things. They had challenges. They had concerns about oversaturation and dilution of the brand's identity. Like, these are things that normally people like, I want the brand everywhere, everywhere. But then sometimes the way that you spread your brand and in what areas you spread your brand, it matters of how people see it. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Starbucks. Um, I'm not going to say that because I think I have seen Starbucks in the hood. But the thing about it is that there's certain areas that, you just don't put your business. There are certain things that you have to do to leverage that strong brand identity. And despite all of those challenges, though, right, Starbucks remained resilient and they had customer loyalty, right, to navigate through that. Because a lot of times we just try and do it on our own, but we never call on our customers. We never call on people to help us to say, hey, we're trying to get this brand. We're trying to grow this brand. We need your support. Spread the message, spread the word, tell your friends, right? No, I want to stop there, TeeCee, because honestly, I feel like I could go on forever about this because these are things that we actively should be already doing in our businesses. But I think that if you're not focused, a lot of times the world is a distraction. Life is a distraction. I mean, I could literally get distracted by a notification that pops on my computer right now. So we gotta stay focused on what is the goal and how do we work on it every single day. So when we learn things like this about Starbucks, that we can go back into the pot and say, am I doing that? But I'll stop there because we got to get off. We've been on for 2 hours almost, so we got to get out of here. I can't hear you.
Okay, so I wanted to say that this is a very lovely conversation, and this is thought provoking as well, because if you think about it, nothing good comes easy. Even with people who, in quotes, have maybe were born with silver spoon, people be like, oh, it was given to you on a platter. Not entirely true. You know why? Because even when it's given to you on a platter, you also want to, as much as possible, okay, sustain it and make it stay. Because even if it was given to you on a platter, will it stay with you on a platter? No. Right? So you want to, as much as possible, understand that whatever you have right now needs work. You need to work it. Okay. Nothing you have right now is just going to work itself. Okay. You need to work your business. You need to ensure that even when the distractions come, because they would come, it is only when you have nothing going on you would not see the distractions. But you see, when you have something good in your hands, life will distract you. You will distract yourself. Relationship will distract you. So many things. There's so many distractions you would experience in all angles. The question is, would you allow those distractions to take position, to take a spot in your life, in your business? The answer should be no. Now, I'm not here to tell you that it's going to be easy, but I'm here to tell you that it is possible. And that's why we bring up all of these brands. We talk about them. We talk about their framework. We talk about their behind the scene. We talk about, what went good for them, what went bad for them, their founders, how the transitions happened, and so that you can see yourself in these brands, so that you can think out of the box, so that you can see where your dream, where your vision, where your skill, where your knowledge can be taken to. I mean, I'm talking to you right now, but I'm talking to myself as well, because researching on these brands and talking about these brands have actually helped me to see where I want to take my vision to, how far I want to go. I mean, I want to go so far. You can't imagine how far I want to go, right? How far I want to take my brand, and I'm open. So you need to be open. You need to be open for the changes. You need to be open for the opportunities. You need to be open for the growth, because it is only when you're open for the growth you can experience growth. I love the background, Allegra. It's only when you are, open, when you are accessible, those ideas will come, stay, and flourish. All right. And that's basically where I'm going to end today. Make sure that you don't just take this information and sit pretty on it. No, it's not meant for you to take it and be like, oh wow, amazing, lovely. No, we're not doing amazing, lovely. Okay. It's meant for you to take those notes and go back and implement them in your business. That's what all of this is about. And it's also meant for you to take action. Now, the action I mean is you're going to get so many questions. I mean, myself and Allegra get so many questions, and we get to do back and forth, about these questions, about these conversations, right? And we can see the growth in our business. Now, you want to have those conversations with somebody else, and you want to see the growth in their business. You want to see the growth in their business. You want to see the growth in their business. You want to see the growth in their business. So you want to see somebody else.
Okay. I know TC is going to pop back in. We're about to end this live, y'all, but just hold on because
Yeah.
we're going to give you some information. Go ahead, TC.
Okay, so I was saying, right, that you should, as much as possible, use your DMs, okay? Ask those questions. Find out how you can scale your business. Find out how you can make your brand not like what everybody on social media has to say, wow, lovely. No, go way beyond just that. Go way beyond how lovely it is. It needs to stick. It needs to um change the perception, right? Go way beyond what the world sees and what and how they feel, right? So happy to support you. We want to answer this question, but you want to take that next step, okay? So you can DM myself and Allegra on LinkedIn. You can also, the link is in the chat. Allegra's link is in the chat. My email is also in the comment section. So as much as possible, throw in your questions, because I know that if you're intentional about your business, you would have loads and loads of questions. Okay, so let's make this make sense for you. Over to you,
Yeah.
Allegra.
Yeah, I mean, we've given a lot of information too. And we've fully equipped our audiences all the time with information that you can take and run. But here's the thing. Um, this is why we create a program. Well, myself, TC, and Sarah. If you don't know Sarah, you'll meet her soon. But we're creating a program for companies, right? Because we understand that there's just so many different levels to this understanding thing. As small business owners starting out with your business, if you're new to it and you're like, okay, it sounds good, but I don't need to do all that yet. Here's the thing, we're telling you, you do. Like, what we're saying is, don't wait to make the decision to say, I feel comfortable doing it. Because a lot of this is really forced progress. It's forced progress for you to get it done. The thing about it is that I remember my first business, y'all. I was so empowered by it because I wanted to get out from behind the bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, I just don't want to be behind a bar all day because I was a bartender. So I'm like, how do I travel? How do I do this and just travel? That was the original idea. So it didn't actually turn into a business until I had to do a job for someone who was having a Super Bowl party and needed 7 bartenders. Now, here's the thing. It was forced growth because as soon as I figured that there was a need in the market and somebody's willing to pay me, at that point, it was not like, oh, well, I don't have employees yet. I don't have nobody on my team yet. I don't have a business license yet. No, 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 no. Let me tell you what I did, and this is what you need to do. Okay? Get the money first. If you have the skill set, if somebody wants to hire you, or if you have something that you can put out there, get the money first. Okay? Take the money and invest it in your business so you get what you need. And the thing about it is that, and I'll give that as an example because I always use that example, especially with my clients when they come to me and they're like, oh, well, I got people that want to hire me, but my business is not set up yet. Okay, so why don't you let them hire you then? Well, because, I don't have the logo and I don't have this, I don't have that. What? They want to hire you. They didn't even need to see the logo. They didn't even need to see the business name. They didn't even need it. They're already telling you that you have something that they're willing to trade for. And if you have something like that as a startup entrepreneur, because of what I experienced, y'all, this is why I tell you, take money. Take the money. And utilize that as an avenue to get what you need. And here's another part of it that I think was really interesting because I took that first client shopping because the problem wasn't that he couldn't get his friends to come and bartend, right? Because yeah, anybody can bartend, just get a whole bunch of liquor. No. He needed someone to create structure. Like, okay, how much liquor do I need to buy to serve this amount of people? What kind of liquor do I need to buy to make these drinks, right? Do I need these straws or napkins? So literally, I took the guy shopping and I added that as a service. So you can literally, in the beginning of your business, in a very short period of time, because that was like a month's time frame, I literally went from no business to having a client and then building the business behind that client and what he needed. So whenever we're building a business, because we're talking about Starbucks today, and we read the story, so now I'm transitioning into your businesses because we heard the stories, we understand the value, right? Because you drink their coffee too. But when are you going to be the household name? When are you going to decide on, listen, I'm going to invest that much in myself, not wait until I get the website, not wait until I know. And if you don't know something, ask the question like TeeCee said. If you don't have the knowledge, go get it and read the book. If you need to learn something out of all the information that we have and all the AI tools that we have, it seems like the more we have, the less we do. And so what we do is we work with those individuals because we seek through the crowd. The person that is literally betting on themselves every single day, that's saying, you know what, I know that there's a lot of people out there that's mimicking. I know a lot of people want to pretend to be this and act like they're that. But the truth is that there are real people that are in pain right now that all you need to do is tweak a couple of things, like the name of your business, or hire the staff from LinkedIn, or put the SOPs together so you can train them properly, or show up every day so that people can actually see you and show up in places where you know the people that are going to buy from you are. These are real action steps that people need to take, that maybe you need to take, okay? And we're here to support that. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, TeeCee. I know that we had a lot to say today, and we had a lot of, things to take away. And I think for me, like I said, I'm learning, I'm growing. And TeeCee, you said it too, but you're on my team, so we have a very we're very close in our mindset, right? We think alike now because I understand what TeeCee does, but I also understand TeeCee being on my team is going to take me to another level. I know, and I understand that having a centralized place where people know, like, hey, listen, I can go and get these services together. I know that that's magical, and the more that we add to that as staff members and partners, it's more magical. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because I ain't just bragging, y'all, because I feel good about it. I feel amazing about having TeeCee on my team. I feel amazing about having the people in my staff. I feel amazing about you know why? Because I had bad people before. You know why I'm excited now? Because I've done the wrong things before. Because I've had the challenges before. And so as you grow and as you realize, oh, okay, yeah, like I do need to do that. We're telling you, you can get to the goal quicker just by learning by our mistakes. All right. So thank y'all for listening. TeeCee, love you as always. I got to get out of here. Take care of Nana. And y'all make sure that y'all click the link to get into our programs that's coming up. And also, we are working with corporations, and we are now putting together a strategic plan of action for any company that's looking to really work with a team. Some of the things that I'm seeing in companies nowadays, it's like you got to go back to square one. And so we're here for that. All right. So we'll talk to y'all later. Have an amazing day.